Hello. Today I'm going to go over the Venus lecture. So we'll talk about some of the basics of the planet Venus. And I have another image here of our solar system with the planets in order. You can see that Venus is the second planet. So Venus is the second planet from the sun. Venus also is one of the rocky planets. Remember, these first four are considered the rocky planets. And Venus resembles Earth in many ways. It has a similar size, it has an atmosphere, it has a surface that is not that dissimilar from Earth. All right, some other unusual features about Venus. So if you look at the image here, we've got Venus and it shows how it rotates on its axes. Same thing with Earth and how it rotates on its axes. Well, one thing that you'll notice is that Venus is not tilted. It's almost straight up and down, where Earth we know is tilted about 23 degrees on its axes. That's what gives us weather, summers and winters and such. But Venus doesn't have that, almost straight up and down. Another unusual thing is how long it takes Venus to rotate once on its axis. So that would be a day, right? So on Earth, to rotate once on its axis is 24 hours. That's a day. Venus is a little bit unusual. So let's take a look down here. Because of an early collision, so by that I mean like in the early atmosphere, there was the mass that would become Venus, the protoplanet, probably smashed into another protoplanet, and it gave it this very unusual spin, very different from all the other planets in the solar system. Venus rotates opposite of most other planets and takes 243 Earth days for one Venus day. So that means Venus goes around the sun in less time than it takes for one Venus Earth day to happen. It's a very slow rotation for Venus. Unusual, but again, because of this early collision, it's most likely why it's so different than the rest of the planets. All right, let's go to this next page here. And we've got an image of Venus. And what you notice about this image is there's no land features. All you're seeing are clouds in the atmosphere. This is also another kind of unique feature among the rocky planets. Venus shines bright in the night sky because it has a thick atmosphere that reflects much of the sunlight radiating onto it. So sunlight's hitting Venus and reflecting most of that sunlight. Only some is getting through this thick atmosphere. And also, you can't ever see the surface just by looking at it from the outside. We have instruments that can penetrate through the clouds to view and image the surface. So we know quite a bit about the surface of Venus. But just by looking at it in a regular telescope, you can't see through that atmosphere, that thick atmosphere. And then down here, it's comparing Earth's atmosphere and Venus's atmosphere. And what you should really notice is how incredibly dense and thick Venus's atmosphere is, much more so than Earth's. And Venus is an example of the greenhouse effect of Venus's atmosphere, composed of mainly CO2 or carbon dioxide, makes it the hottest planet in the solar system. So the sunlight that does come in and get through that cloud layer, all that heat from that sunlight gets trapped in this atmosphere. So it has the greenhouse effect just like Earth does, but it's a much stronger greenhouse effect, making Venus the hottest planet in the solar system. Okay, let's talk a little bit about the surface of Venus. And at first what we have, This image here shows all the different volcanoes. Some of them are very small, some of them are larger, but it shows a map of all the different volcanoes that we've been able to detect on the surface of Venus. And this is important. This tells us some information. So volcanoes can be found all over the surface of Venus. However, without a regular pattern, it suggests that Venus does not have plate tectonics. So on Earth, plate tectonics are what recycles our crust. New crust rises up from the cracks between plates. Old plates subduct back into the Earth. So we get a lot of change in geologic terms on Earth. But Venus does not appear to have that. The evidence does not point to any kind of plate tectonics. And some of that is just the patterning of the volcanoes. You also get unusual types of volcanoes. And one of them that we see here, you can kind of see these look like what these four are. These are four volcanoes that are pushed up like a bulge in the earth. So it almost looks like a reverse footprint, right? So if something stomped down and created a footprint, this is in reverse where it's pushed up and it's all cracked because that material and rock has been pushed up. You don't see big lava flows or anything like that, and they're pretty circular. So pancake dome volcanoes look as if something is pushing up the ground from below. One of the unusual types of volcanoes that we find on Venus. All right, so these are just some basics. Hope this helps. Thank you very much.